Hey guys, what's up? My name is Mason, and this is episode one of Zigzag Sports Talk. This is a sports podcast hosted by me, and sometimes going to be co-hosted by Austin Goffney. Today we're going to be talking about, week one just ended, NFL is back. We'll talk about, the storylines there, and then we'll move on with some basketball and hockey playoff updates, and then big news with baseball. Let's get started. Texans and Chiefs let us off. Texans lost 28-34. Running backs, both of them look good. Texans, on the other hand, did not. David Johnson was a bright spot, but Deshaun Watson is missing D-Hop. Tyreek Hill did not do much in the first half, as I assume he was used as a decoy, but he ended up doing good in the second half, ended up with 5 catches, 46 yards, and 1 touchdown. On the other hand, neither D impressed me at all. The Texans have a few pieces, but they didn't look right, and the Chiefs are kind of missing Fuller in the cornerback. So, as the season progresses, I guess we'll obviously see more on what happens with them. But for right now, none of them are that special. Seahawks, Falcons. Seahawks win 38-25. Russell Wilson had a game with 322 yards and 4 touchdowns, adding 29 yards on the ground. Matt Ryan didn't do bad himself. He had 450 with 2 TDs and an interception, but, he lost. So it's not what you want. Bright side of the day, Russell Gage, a 6th round pick out of LSU in 2018. He had 9 catches and 114 yards for the Atlanta Falcons. Jamal Adams also had a big energetic impact for the Seahawks defense. Really put a spark in that D. And on the other hand, Gurley looked good. I'm excited to see Gurley back in his home, he definitely looked like the old Todd Gurley. Browns-Ravens. This was boring to watch. Ravens were exciting. Browns were terrible. The game wasn't even close as the Ravens won 38-6 in Baltimore. This is not very good. Obviously, Lamar Jackson went off. He had 275 throwing with 3 TDs, and he had another 45 yards on the ground with 7 rushes. Marquise Brown had 5 catches for 101 yards. Mark Andrews had 2 TDs. One of them was an amazing one-handed snag back of the end zone. On the Cleveland side, Mayfield had 189 yards with a touchdown interception. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb pretty much split carries. Hunt had 13 and Chubb had 10. Odell, he had 3 catches on 10 throws, or 10 targets, and only 22 yards. So Mayfield struggled to get him the ball. But Jarvis Landry, he did good. I didn't get to watch this game that much. I assume Landry was working out of the slot, but he had 5 for 61. Key takeaway for the Ravens is that J.K. Dobbins, rookie out of Ohio State, he had the goal line carry, so he ended up with 2 touchdowns. Mark Ingram had 10 carries, but only 29 yards. Let's move on. Jets and Bills. Jets 17, Bills 27. This is my favorite game from Josh Allen. He had 312 passing yards, which, I never see him on the stat books with 312. And he had 2 TDs, so that was good by him. Singletary and Moss seemed to split carries for the Bills, both with 9, but Singletary kind of, I don't want to say dominated, but he had 30 yards to Zach Moss's 11. Stephon Diggs, it was his debut for the Buffalo Bills, and he had 8 catches for 86 yards. He looked happy. He looked like he was having fun. I don't think he misses Minnesota, especially after they lost. Jets. This could possibly be the worst team in the NFL. I'm still sticking with Washington on that. I think they'll come back down, but this Jets team looked terrible. Darnold had 215 with a touchdown interception. Gore had 6 carries for 24 yards. Bell had 6 for 14. Bell left halfway through the game. Jameson Crowder, you could say it was a bright spot, but he had 7 catches for 115 and a touchdown, but one of those was a 69-yard touchdown. So, not much to take away from that. But the main thing is Josh Allen did good, even if the Jets defense is terrible. Raiders Panthers. Raiders win 34-30 all the way in Carolina. Derek Carr had 239 passing yards, and Teddy Bridgewater had 270 passing yards. Both quarterbacks, didn't impress, but they were efficient. That's what matters. The Raiders got a nice road win. Carolina's defense is not good, and surprisingly, the Nelson Aguilar had a touchdown. He had one catch for 23 yards. I believe it was on one attempt too, so he caught the ball. That's surprising to all of us. Bears Lions. This one was a tough watch. Bears came back to win 27-23 after being down in the fourth quarter 23-. I believe they had 3. So I think it was 23-3 going into the fourth. They come back, win 27-23. Matt Patricia and that Lions defense did not look good. They need to turn around, especially now that he has all his pieces in there. On the offense side, Stafford, he came back this season. He was hurt, so let's give him a few games. But then again, I think, in my opinion, Stafford's Hall of Famer, no doubt. He just has a terrible team around him, but his play's been good. So AP, Adrian Peterson is now a member of the Detroit Lions, and he ran hard, he looked good, and he could possibly be the lead back over Kerryon Johnson and Swift. So Galladay, their number one receiver for Detroit, he was out this game, but Matty Staff and company should have, they should have still done good, and they didn't. They lost the game. Trubisky, he was 20 of 36, not great, but he had 242 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, watching the game, he didn't look like his stats were that good, but he got the win. He was efficient and it worked. On other news, Allen Robinson wants out of Chicago, which is, it's weird because he was their leading receiver with 5 catches for 74 yards, and he's also, they won. So it's weird to see someone want to trade after leading the team in catches and yards and a win. So, but most of that has to do with his contract situation, which I hear now is fine. But moving on to the Colts and Jaguars. Colts 20, Jags 27. In my opinion, the Jags they're not that bad. I mean, this was before going into the season. I knew they weren't going to have the worst record. They're not a terrible team. They have talented pieces, and their coaching staff isn't horrible. There are definitely worse staffs, but Minshew looked good in that new offense. So Jacksonville's D had a bend but don't break mentality. I mean, Phillip Rivers threw for 363 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The Colts had 3 guys rush for about 25 yards each. So they gave up 450 yards for the most part, but only 20 points. Especially they had 2 key takeaways. One of them was a terrible throw by Rivers. We don't know what he was thinking. But yeah, so Marlon Mack, key takeaway from this game, he's out for season. I believe he tore his Achilles, something like that. That's bad for the Colts. But on the bright side, Nyheim Hines, he had a great game. 7 rushes, 28 yards, and a touchdown to go along with 8 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Will we see more of him? I don't know. They do have Jonathan Taylor, their second round back out of Wisconsin. He had 9 carries for 22, 6 catches for 67, but Hines did have the stats. He had the touchdowns. Gardner Minshew was 19 of 20, and he ran that new offense beautifully. I believe Gruden runs a West Coast, but it doesn't matter. Minshew, he's still 19 of 20 is good no matter what kind of offense you run. James Robinson, the running back replacing Leonard Fournette, also looked very good. It could just be his first game, so don't get too excited. Fantasy guys, I'd be cautious when adding him. I don't think you should start him next week, but he did look good in that game. C.J. Henderson, first round DB out of Florida for Jacksonville. He played like a top 10 pick, and hopefully Jacksonville can keep him and re-sign him. Packers Vikings. This game was a shootout. Packers win 43-34. Aaron Rodgers had 364 with 4 touchdowns. Who needs a first-round wide receiver when you have Devontae Adams, who reeled in 14 of 17 targets for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns? Vikings D looks bad after their key departures. Cousins was all right with 259, 2 TDs and an interception. Dalvin Cook had 2 rushing touchdowns. Thielen had 6 catches for 110, and he caught both touchdowns, but that Vikings D gave up 43 points to Rodgers and co. And, we're going to have to see where that goes after they lost some people. Dolphins Patriots. This one was boring yet fun. Weird all around. Dolphins lose 11-21. Ryan Fitzpatrick was terrible. He had 191 yards and 3 interceptions. I can hear the Tua chants from halftime, and there weren't even fans in the stands. I don't know if Tua's ready, but Fitzpatrick needs some Fitzmagic, or else they're going to be pressured to put Tua in probably too early. We'll see how that pans out. Myles Gaskin was the leading rusher for Miami. He was very good at Washington. Came into the league kind of trying to find his place, I guess you could say. But he did surprise in a hairy backfield with Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. He could be the lead back. We don't know yet. Cam looked like he had fun, and that made the Patriots look like they had fun. It didn't really seem like a Belichick team. It seemed like it seemed kind of like a Josh McDaniels team. They looked like they had fun. They ran the ball, the entire game. So Cam Newton only had 155 yards passing, but he had 15 carries for 75 and 2 touchdowns. So hopefully he can throw it more next week in Seattle. We'll see how that one goes, but Cam looked good. It was weird watching him in a Patriots uniform. It was weird watching the Patriots, especially after they had all those defensive players opt out, but it was a good one. Bright side, at least. Something to look forward to. Eagles and Washington. Eagles had 17. Washington had 27. Now, this game was wild. First half, I believe Eagles were winning at halftime 17-0. Washington comes out behind that great D-line with Chase Young and scored 27. Haskins, he wasn't terrible. He had 178 and a touchdown. Eagles were terrible. Chase Young had 1.5 sacks. And overall, I think Ron Rivera won this game. I think coaching won this game. I do not think the Eagles obviously didn't play good. I don't think Washington played that great either. But I'll give this one to Ron Rivera. Feel good part of the week. Ex-Virginia Tech quarterback Logan Thomas caught a touchdown. He had 4 catches for 37 yards, actually. I believe he used to play in the Cardinals as a quarterback, and he made the switch over to tight end, and, it could be promising after the Jordan Reed era is over in Washington. Chargers and Bengals. Chargers won 16-13. Randy Bullock missed a game-tying field goal with a few seconds left. Burrow is the real deal, and I'm excited to see what him and Zach Taylor can do. He wasn't awesome. He had 193 yards and an interception. He had 8 yards. He had 8 attempts rushing with 46 yards and a touchdown. He only had. The Bengals only scored 13, but he looked good. Somehow he had bad stats, bad offense, not a great team, but Burrow looked good. He did have a terrible interception. And he also overthrew a wide-open A.J. Green for a touchdown. But besides that, he looked good. You have to watch the game to know what I'm talking about. A.J. Green is back. He looked really good. But the one player who looked better than him, I'd have to say, was Mike Williams for the Chargers, a first-round pick a few years ago. He's battled injuries throughout college and NFL, and he looked good. Keenan Allen, on the other hand, he looked good, but he didn't have the stats. 4 catches, 37 yards. But Mike Williams is definitely going to be someone to watch in the upcoming future. Buccaneers Saints. This game was not as weird as I thought. It was it was fun to watch, especially you could see Brady struggling with I guess his connections with everyone on the team. He I guess they're not quite there, which I mean you can give that to Corona, or you can give that to just Brady has never been, or he's only done it once, being a first year quarterback with a new team and new system and stuff. So it'll take a few games to get used to it. But Tom Brady's Tom Brady, so let's relax. He did have a terrible interception, and he also, well, one of his interceptions was a terrible read. That was the pick six. And then the other one, Mike Evans, from what I hear, Mike Evans ran the correct route. Brady threw the wrong route, trying to throw a skinny post. Evans ran a little comeback. So yeah, that one was on Brady as well. Give it time for TB. He'll be fine. Fournette is still learning, but Ronald Jones looked good. So this offense, Fournette was not a part of it. LaShawn McCoy wasn't a big part of it either. But they didn't need to be. Ronald Jones had 17 carries, 66 yards. He looked good, even if the stats aren't all there. He ran hard. Bad news is Michael Thomas has a high ankle injury. He will be out for a few weeks after having 3 catches for 17 yards. Oh yeah, Saints beat Buccaneers 23-34 in that one. Cardinals 49ers. Not that it was an upset, but I definitely wasn't expecting it. Cardinals win 24-20. 49ers couldn't contain Murray. The pressure was there, but he would scramble out of that pocket. His feet move so fast, it's ridiculous. Bad news for Cardinals fans. Isaiah Simmons looked terrible. He gave up both touchdowns and only played 18 snaps. Now, is the talent there? For sure. But does he have to learn that defense, I guess? Yeah, Todd Bowles is a great D coordinator. So, hopefully Isaiah Simmons can pick up that D better, because I was really excited to watch him play, and he gave up. He ran straight past, who was it? He ran straight past Raheem Mostert on a little Texas route out the backfield, and Mostert just dusted him after he caught the ball. And then he also, from what I hear, he was supposed to be in the flats on a play in the red zone, and he instead double teamed the guy instead of covering McKinnon out of the backfield, and wide open touchdown. Zane Gonzalez missed a 52 and 49 field goals, both wide right, but he ended up hitting one of them, or he hit another one later in the game. He'll be fine for all you fancy guys that drafted him. 49ers looked like they need a number 1 wide receiver. Now, Deebo Samuel's hurt. He could be that guy. They had Emmanuel Sanders last year. He's out. We'll see how this progresses, but Garoppolo needed someone to throw to other than Kittle, who Kittle even got hurt at some point. San Francisco also had a lot of big penalties on defense, and that's probably why the Cardinals won. There's a lot of pass interferences, holdings. They were very undisciplined. They need to get that together. Cowboys 17, Rams 20. Bad news, Blake Jarwin tore his ACL. I think his name's Blake. Jarwin tore his ACL as the tight end for the Cowboys, and Vander Esch left early because of a collarbone injury. Jarwin's out for season, and I don't know how long Vander Esch is out, but not good. And these both happened and they both happened in the first half. So both offenses look terrible. Very disappointed in Dak. Goff played like he's an overpaid first-round quarterback, and he shouldn't have been given an extension. We expected that. Dallas has 3 good receivers. I think that's the takeaway from this game. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Michael Gallup, all 3, they look good. Malcolm Brown, running back for the Rams, he ran hard and looked amazing. They do have second-round running back Cam Akers out of Florida State, who had 14 carries to Malcolm Brown's 18. But I don't know. Either Brown's the starter or they're going to go with the hot hand. But Brown looked good this game. The main storyline, I guess, after watching that Sunday night broadcast, that stadium's legit. For those who didn't get a chance to see it, I suggest Googling it because it was awesome. Steelers-Giants. This is the first half of a Monday night doubleheader. Steelers win 26-16. The score is a lot closer than the game was. Big Ben is back as expected. A lot of people had doubt that he wasn't going to be as good as he has in the past. I did not. I thought he'd be fine. And he was. He threw for 229 and 3 touchdowns. But yeah, he's back as expected, and James Conner is hurt as expected. Not much to say there. He might be back next week. We don't really know how long he's out. So also, we knew the Giants' offensive line was bad. We knew that. And we knew the Steelers' front seven was really good. But, I didn't know the Giants were the worst offensive line and the Steelers had the best defensive line. Because just watching it, I was frustrated how many holes the Steelers' defense just gashed right through the Giants' O-line. It was kind of embarrassing. But, they held Saquon to, what do you have, 15 carries for 6 yards. I believe he had 12 for -2 at one point. He couldn't do anything. But, look, Saquon will Saquon even if Daniel Jones is. And if that offensive line can't hold up, he's going to find a way. He's young. He's strong. He'll get it done for you fantasy guys. I don't know. He's not going to carry the Giants and win games, but he'll get it done with his stats. Titans Broncos, the second game of the night. Locke, he was really fun to watch. But he disappointed me. He played a stout Titans defense, and he didn't have his number 1 and 3 receivers or Phillip Lindsay. Sutton and KJ Hamler were both inactive, and Lindsay left early with turf toe. So Locke was missing 3 weapons, but, I guess he did good for that, especially against a bad defense, or a good defense. But I was expecting more. Without Von Miller and A.J. Boye, who also left early with a dislocated shoulder, the Broncos' defense didn't look bad. They held up. They held the Titans to 16. Now, the Titans ran the ball 31 times with Derrick Henry. But I thought they looked good. The defense did. Big stories. Steven Gostkowski missed 2 field goals, an extra point, and had a field goal get blocked. You could say he missed 3. Technically he did miss the one that got blocked, but I don't blame him for that one. But he did miss 2 and an extra point. And this is, maybe a Hall of Famer, Steven Gostkowski. So, he made the game winner, bright spot, and he's an older guy. He's a veteran. He's not going to get in his head. He'll be fine. But if the Titans did lose that game, that would have been a lot bigger of a story. Jerry Jeudy looked amazing. He did have 2 big drops that possibly could have won the Broncos the game, but don't expect that to happen again. Jeudy looked good. When Courtland Sutton comes back, I assume he'll look better. Overall, Broncos look like an exciting young team to keep an eye on. That's it for the NFL. I don't know if I'll be going through every game like that, as it took 20 minutes. Maybe I'll just stick with the stories. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure this out. We'll see whatever y'all want to hear. But let's move on to basketball. The Heat beat the Celtics in Game 1 thanks to Bam Adebayo blocking a game-tying dunk from Jason Tatum in the final seconds. I guess Tatum had confidence, thought he could get it in. I think there was 2 seconds left. Adebayo came from across the paint, and he shut that down real fast. Heat won. Final score, Heat 117, Celtics 114. In the Western Conference, the Nuggets beat the Clippers by 15 in Game 7 after being down 3-1 in the series. Jamal Murray put up 40 points, and Nikola Jokic had 16 with a triple-double. Kawhi Leonard was held to only 14 points as the Nuggets win 104-89 and now face the Lakers on Friday. Nuggets are 6-0 in elimination games these playoffs. They were down 3-1 to the Jazz, came back, and they were down 3-1 to the Clippers and came back. So I'm kind of excited to see them play the Lakers, especially, with this momentum they have, I guess you could say. But it'll be a good one. And that game, like I said, that game's on Friday. On to the NHL for you hockey fans, just like me. So the New York Islanders held on last night, Tuesday, to force Game 6 as they won 2-1 in double overtime Winner of that series will face the Dallas Stars, who on Monday night beat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 in overtime to win the series in 5 games. Dallas Stars look good. Tampa Bay looks good too, but they got to get past the Islanders after an early exit last year in the playoffs. We'll see if the Islanders can hold on. I don't know when that game is. Let me see when the Islanders game 6 is. Yeah, it will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. So Thursday, Lightning, Islanders, 7 p.m. Tampa Bay leads that series 3-2. Moving on to the MLB, I'm not going to go over this. They play games every day, basically. So we'll just talk about the big stories when it comes to MLB. But what mainly happened was the MLBPA signed off an agreement to play the 2020 playoffs at neutral sites, with the American League playing in Cali, in Los Angeles Dodgers Stadium, and San Diego Stadium. So that'll be the American League. And then the National League will play in Arlington and Houston. So both divisions will be at 2 fields. I don't know if they're going to be in bubble sites and like on lockdown, or if they're going to be in hotels and just kind of free range. But that'll be exciting to see. The World Series will be held in Arlington inside the Rangers' new stadium. Some people like to call it Home Depot. Some people like to call it Lowe's. Some people like to call it a garbage can. But on the inside, it looks good. Outside, questionable. World Series will be played there. I do not know if there will be fans yet. We will have to get that information sometime later, whenever the playoffs are closer. I believe they will start in almost 2 weeks. It's exciting to see that. For all you guys that came listen to this, it's my first episode. I'm getting used to it. I'm trying to figure this out. I still need a logo. I still need to figure out YouTube and stuff. But, this was just kind of a little quick update instead of, normally giving my opinions like I would. I'm still trying to figure it out. Next time, I think I'm going to try to give mostly opinions and hit the big storylines. We'll see how that one works out. Let me know what you think. Anyone who listens to this first one, y'all gonna have me on. Y'all gonna have my number. Y'all gonna have my Snapchat, my Twitter, my Instagram, all that. So yeah, y'all definitely let me know what y'all think, and then we'll compare it to next week's video, and hopefully we can get Agoff on here sometime as like a guest speaker. He's not really a guest speaker. He is the co-host, just not right now. But yeah, it is Wednesday right now. Got some more sports coming up this next week, and then Thursday, or I guess tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow we got a Thursday night game between the Browns and Bengals. That one's gonna be boring, but at least we get to watch Joe Burrow. So let's see if he stays dominant. All right, you guys have a good one.